My name is Nyja Cauley, and my mother was a drug addict. My name is Nyja Cauley. I am 21 years old, and I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up on the west side of Charlotte, and I grew up in a fairly quiet neighborhood. Of course, I had neighborhood friends. You have kids, they're a little rowdy, but for the most part, I grew up in like a really quiet neighborhood in my little cul-de-sac. I do have one sibling. I have a younger brother, but he does not live with me. He lives with his mom, so I was kind of like only child syndrome, but not because, of course, I had a little brother. We just didn't live in the same house. So both of my parents, they don't really like get along that well. When I was younger, my dad kind of took me away from my mom um, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My dad took me away from my mom for me to have better standard of living. She was kind of doing some things my dad didn't agree with, so my dad kind of took me with him back home to Charlotte.
And what age did he take you away?
I think I could say maybe like around a year. I was only like I was a baby. I was like maybe around like one. Like I was like a baby, so really young. So actually, my dad's in the army. He's in the military. So, when he would get stationed in Iraq, I would have to go live with my aunt that lives in Baltimore. And she so happened to tell me one day when I was like asking her, I guess it kind of slipped up. And she told me my mom's situation, like, your mom, she developed PTSD from being in the military, and they always would tell me she was sick. That's what I was told, that they would always tell me she was sick, but my aunt slipped up and told me that she started doing drugs, and my dad didn't want me to grow up around in that environment, so that's how I found out. Um, I want to say crack cocaine. I believe that's the drug she was doing. My dad would tell me stories how she would come in like late at night with the same clothes on, and he would like find her parked on the side of the street and doing drugs. So he would like find her doing these drugs. So it was like really hard on him too. Both of my parents met in the military. My dad was like really young when they met. My dad was 25 and my mom was like 30, around like in her later 30s. I'm not sure what age. And my dad told me like he didn't even know she was that old when he met her. But yeah, so they met in the military. When he tells me like about my mom, or when he has told me about my mom, he's always like told me he never wanted to like talk down on my mother, or he always told me some people just aren't fit for it, like can't force it. He just always told me she wasn't fit for it. She loves me, but she just wasn't fit to be a mother because she kept being selfish and using these drugs, and she couldn't stop. She was addicted. I feel like it didn't really affect me until I got older, as I became into like my womanhood and learning like certain stuff as a woman, like the do's and don'ts, or like the ins and out of womanhood. Even I've seen that it has affected my relationship with like females and like in general, like with friends and stuff. I really have like, I feel like a hard time kind of trusting and building bonds with females. So I could definitely say that has played a part in me missing out on like that motherly love. And because everybody, there's something about that mother love everybody needs. So just not having that mother's love kind of affected me too. So I feel like I kind of have this wall up where I could be like kind of insensitive to things and people catch on to it, and I'm just like, I don't mean to be like that. It's just like something that is like that I have because of my mother not being in my life. I'm not gonna say depressed. Of course, upset. It was even a time in my life when my grandmother, she couldn't even have pictures around me of my mom. Like I would see my mom's picture and like bawl out crying. So like would have to hide her pictures from me because I always wanted to know like why is she not here? Why is she such a secret? Like why like where is she? So yeah.
And have you ever spoken to your mom?
Yes, so I actually met my mom for the first time November 2019 for Thanksgiving. I was born in Dallas. This is where our family's from, Dallas, Texas. We went down there originally for a football game, but I felt like it was time. I was 19 at the time, and I was like, it's been 19 years. I've never spoken to my mom in forever. So my dad, he was like, just, are you sure? Like skeptical about it because he didn't want to like trigger me. Of course, on Thanksgiving, you don't want to be upset. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. So my mom, she lives with my grandparents. So we rode to my grandfather's house and we pulled up and like I feel all these emotions just like kind of just build up. And I was like, this is like the moment I've been waiting for, especially. And I know she's like ready to meet me. So that was like my first initial meeting and like talking with my mom was in November of 2019. I feel like I'm still kind of healing from like the whole thing just because she's missed like literally like all a part of like I'm a young lady now, I'm a young woman now. So of course I'm still kind of like processing it, and I feel like I just want to know like why, or I just want an apology kind of for her not being there. And I feel like once I get that apology, I could kind of be at peace. Of course, it's still like a healing process, but I could finally be at peace. Like I said, it was kind of like I felt like as I got older, it's kind of normalized me not having a mom. So like to other people on the outside, it was like it's kind of like weird in a sense because I'm being raised by my dad, and normally the norm is like single mothers. So it didn't seem like like I said, as a kid growing up, it didn't seem like anything was wrong. Like I knew I had somebody in my household that loved me and took care of me. So I felt like that didn't change anything, me growing up. But me coming into my womanhood and me having these different experiences, and your mom kind of like guides you, or you have someone you call on the phone like, hey mom, guess what this girl did at work, or someone to have gossip time or whatever. I realized I didn't have that growing up, and seeing my friends with their mothers, it started to like really hit me like, dang, like, okay, this has affected me. As a younger kid, you don't think it affects you, but once you start getting into those experiences and coming into your womanhood, you see it affects you. Something I have taken from the situation is to always stay up. Like I've always had like a kind spirit. I've never held a grudge against her. I've never like just held that grudge like of having anger. Like I feel like you have to keep going. Like the time doesn't stop for anybody. You just have to flourish. Like even if some people have to get left in behind, but you have to keep going. And I feel like that's what makes me so unique about my story, is that I didn't let my growing up and my situation stop me from doing what I had to do to be successful. It doesn't really bother me, but I feel like it comes to a point where you can't function without drugs, or you feel like you have to do it all the time, you're not getting your work done, then I see it's, of course, it's a problem. Like, and I feel like it's becoming an addiction because you're not able to function correctly.
And do you feel like this situation has affected your ability to love someone else?
That's a good one. I don't feel like it. I actually feel like that I kind of like I'm really sensitive, so I feel like I fall easy. I feel like, and I love hard. I love really hard. So when I love hard and I feel like somebody's not kind of reciprocating that energy, it does kind of hurt. And then I put this wall up, and that's when it becomes hard for me to love someone. Yes. When I have my own kids, 40, 50 years from now, I'm just kidding. Wow, from now, I plan to be a mother that is always there. Like, even as little as going to cheerleading games, basketball games, like sports events, that even little stuff like that is important. But also my children being comfortable with coming to me and talking to me about anything, and just knowing that they're loved. Like, that's something that is really big, because me growing up as a kid, I wasn't sure if, like, my mom, of course, they tell me, you know, your mom loves you, but you kind of have that self-doubt, because it's like, well, mommy's not in the house, so she clearly doesn't love me as much as you say you guys know. So I just want my kids to know that they are loved, and I'm gonna help them with their journey in life and guiding them to the right path.
Okay, Nyja, well, thank you. And
Thank you.
That's all we have for today. If you could just look straight at the camera and tell everyone what your name is and say, "This is my story."
My name is Nyja Cauley, and this is my story. Oh.